Hi, welcome to Patrick and Friends Music. My name is Sebastian, I am a saxophone player, and today I wanted to talk about patterns, specifically major scale patterns. Now, these patterns, we can apply them to pretty much any scale there is. Minor, melodic minor, harmonic minor, augmented major, major, but we're gonna just apply it to a major scale, and then on your own time, you can apply it to whatever it is that you'd like. Now, these patterns, we call them thirds. In music, we have intervals. An interval is the space between two notes. So if you have a major scale, which is 7 different notes, and the 8th and last note being the same as the first, just higher placed, we are going to, for example, play the first note of the scale, and then we're going to play the 5th note of the scale. That interval, the space between the first and the 5th note, is what we call a fifth. If we were to play the first note of the scale, and let's say the 3rd note of the scale, the interval, or the space between those two notes, would be a third, right? So that's how intervals work. Now, for example, if we were to play the 2nd note of the scale, and then the 4th note of the scale, so we're playing the 2nd note and the 4th note separately, of course, right? Melodically, the 2nd note first, and then the 4th note. That is also a third, because we are skipping a note. We are skipping the 3rd note of the scale, right? So it sounds like this. And I'm going to do it in the key of B flat. So B flat concert. If you're playing tenor, it's our C major. If you're playing alto, it's our G major. If you're playing piano or guitar or bass, it's B flat concert for you, obviously. So I'm going to play the first 5 notes of a B flat major scale. Tenor, it's C, and then alto, it's G. Remember that. And I'm going to play them in thirds. So I'm going to be skipping notes. I'm going to play the 1st, then the 3rd note. I'm going to play the 2nd note, and then the 4th note, the 3rd note, and the 5th note. All right, so I'm skipping notes. I am still moving up the scale. However, I am not playing it the way one would usually do. You hear that there is an up and down movement happening. Now we call this a pattern because you can apply this to, like I said, any scale that you want. Major, minor, melodic minor, augmented major, harmonic minor, and so on. So we are going to, again, start by doing this on a major scale. I'm going to play the thirds pattern. There's 4 of them. I'm going to play the first one, which is just starting on the bottom note, moving up, coming down, up a third, down, up a third, down, up a third, and so on. I'm just going to play it going up. We are going to group 2 notes, the 1st and the 3rd, the 2nd and the 4th, the 3rd and the 5th, the 4th and the 6th note, the 5th and the 7th, the 6th and the octave, right, which is also the 1st note, but just higher, the 7th note and the 2nd note, which is higher now, and then back to the 1st octave. So we're going to be ending on the root, which is the 1st note we started on, except an octave higher. I'll play it again. Right? Same note, just an octave higher. I think the easiest way to do this is to use numbers rather than note names. Because if we use numbers, we can apply it again to any scale you want. Because we know that we have to play the 1st note, followed by the 3rd note, followed by the 2nd, then the 4th, then the 3rd, then the 5th, then down to the 4th note, by the 6th note, 5th note, 7th note, 6th note again, to the 1st note, which is now the octave, down to the 7th note, up to the 2nd, or we call it the 9th, because it's the 2nd note but an octave higher, and then down to the 1st note again, which is the octave note. I think if we use those numbers, which I'm going to put down here, is the easiest way to do this. Why? Because as I said, we can pretty much just apply it to any scale we want without thinking about the notes themselves, and instead we think about the numbers, right? We think, oh, first note, third note, fourth note, fifth note, and so on like that. This is not only going to help you develop a better understanding of your major scales, but it's also going to help you develop your fingers, your technicality, so that we're getting used to playing and moving our fingers in a different way and not just up and down. It's also going to help your ear so that you're able to hear it, right? You're going to hear a major scale, but you're going to listen to it differently. It's like saying, hey, the sky is blue, but instead of just hearing the sky is blue the entire time, you're also hearing blue is the sky, right? So it's the same sentence, but it's just worded differently. So that's essentially what we're doing with these scales. We're playing a major scale, but we're just, changing it up a little bit. And then you're also going to be able to sing this. If you play this, you play your major thirds, ba da 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 da. You play them enough times, you're going to get them in your ear, and you're going to start recognizing these patterns. So for example, if I may play thirds for you at some point, and you're going to listen to this, and you're going to say, hey, I know that. That sounds like thirds in a major scale. So it's great for developing your ears, developing technique, and obviously it's a fun way to play major scales so that you don't get bored of just doing the up and down thing. The second pattern we're going to do is also called thirds. However, we're going to invert them. Instead of starting on the first note, moving up to the third, we are starting on the third note, moving down to the first. So instead of going ba da 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 da, we're gonna start ba da 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 da. Right? You hear that? It's a slightly different movement. However, it is still the same notes of a major scale, just in a slightly different order. Let me play that for you. Same notes, we're just going up a little bit higher now in the scale, but it is the exact same notes, just in a slightly different order. So I'm going to put down, let's call this major scale third pattern number 2. So the second pattern is going to go like this. 1, 3, 4, 2, 5, 3, 6, 4, 7, 5, octave, 6, second or the 9th to the 7th, third or 11th, which is all the way up there, right, down to the root. And that's it. That's the pattern. You can play these patterns going up as well as coming down. Just make sure you follow that those numbers, that equation, if you want to call it, that pattern. It's a pattern. It's a pattern. I can't think of another way to call it. Follow those numbers. Try it in different keys. And if you're feeling gutsy, try it also in different types of scales. Like I said, try it in a minor scale if you would. So to finish up, we did 2 patterns today. Major scale, both of them. The first pattern is going up 1, 3, 2, 4, 3, 5. And then the second pattern was 3, 1, 4, 2, 5, 3, 6, 4, and so on. Again, try these out. Do it slowly, do it fast. Make sure you get comfortable with it. And I'll see you next time. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out the Patrick and Friends Patreon page, Patrick and Friends Music Patreon page. We will provide the link below. We'll also be adding some videos to the page that you won't find on YouTube, so make sure to check it out. Thank you.